Hi guys, Coach Abby back at it again with a trainer tip here on Thursday. Today we're going to be talking about foot and ankle mobility. The reason we want to discuss this is because we've talked with a couple clients about calf muscles being strained, about range of motion, and this is often an area that we neglect when it comes time to stretch or even just to work on form. So the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to recommend that you do some sort of myofascial release. This can be done with a foam roller, a rolling pin, a wine bottle, or a lacrosse ball. So basically what you'll do, you can do this standing or sitting. You're just going to take that lacrosse ball or whatever apparatus you're using, place it under your foot, and with some pressure, light to medium as you start, you can work higher pressure as you go. You're just going to roll that foot back and forth. You can kind of rotate, get the edge, make sure you get right across the ball of your feet and definitely into that arch. What that's going to do is that's going to start to release some of that tension in our foot that we have built up over time from everyday use. We have to remember that our feet are the foundation for the rest of our body, and most of what we do is from a standing or a two-footed position. If we move to a one-footed position, we need to have perfect range of motion, we need to have good stability, and part of that is taking care of those smaller muscles within our foot. So that's number one. Number two, we're gonna work on our ankle mobility. So the first thing you're gonna do, you're gonna take a seat and you're just going to lean into this ankle here. So right now I'm working my right leg, and I'm gonna use my hands, use my gravity, use my weight. I'm going to push into this ankle and I'm gonna hold. I can rock side to side here a little bit. I wanna try and keep my foot flat on the floor despite pushing forward, okay? And what this is gonna do is it's really opening up the back side of my ankle and my Achilles, and it's also working on this range of motion coming from this joint here at the front of the ankle. So I'm here pushing into it. You can place that hand here if you will need a little bit more stability or to make sure it stays on the ground. It may feel a little bit tight. It may feel like a good stretch in the back side of your legs. Same thing on the left side here. I'm gonna use my weight and gravity to push me down. And I'm stretching in this back side of my ankle. You can rotate side to side a little bit. If you find a spot that's really tight, just hold. Make sure you take a couple of deep breaths so that your body does not think it's under stress. In the sympathetic nervous system, it will stay in that parasympathetic nervous system in that rest and digest state. Next exercise can be done at the wall, so I'm going to turn my camera here. Next exercise, I'm going to use a wall. I'm going to place two hands on the wall. I'm going to step 1 foot forward. Notice that my toe is up on the wall, my heel is down into the floor. I'm going to find a good angle, and what I want to do here, I'm already feeling a stretch in the back side of my leg. That's into my calf muscle, which is awesome, but I want to stick with my ankle here, so I'm just going to bring my knee a little bit closer to the wall here. Again, really just working that ankle. I can do my left side. Heel goes down, toe is up. This is a good calf stretch here with that leg straight, but if I press my knee forward, I'm getting into that ankle mobility a little more than I am the stretch. All right, after you finish at the wall, you can take a seat. This can be done before or after. I'm just gonna hang out here, I'm gonna cross my legs, and I'm just gonna do some ankle circles. I wanna see if there's any spot that I feel tension. If I can move them a little bit wider. Nice and slow, I wanna go in both directions. I would do this on both feet. You might notice if you have had an injury on one side or the other that you have less control. I can tell I have less control on my left side here than I do on my right side. So that's a sign for me to work on my ankle stability as well as my strength and mobility. I'm gonna go both directions of circles. All right, another exercise we can do, and this goes into that stability, we can do single leg balances. So if you know that your ankles are weak, this is a really good opportunity, not only to practice your balance, but you're actually strengthening those ligaments and those muscles within your ankle, okay? I would recommend doing this barefoot. You're gonna get the most out of being barefoot. You're gonna have more receptors going from your ankle to your brain than you would with shoes. You can also up the progression with doing a cushioned floor or putting something cushioned under your foot versus being on a gym floor or a hard floor like concrete, okay? So I'm just gonna stay here 30 seconds on my right foot, 30 seconds on my left foot, and I want you to think about 3 different points: your heel, the ball of the big toe, and that ball of your pinky toe, and that'll make a nice triangle for you to focus on. If you want to make it even harder, you can also try to close your eyes. Not my strong suit. And while balance does not seem like it's part of a workout, it actually does a lot for your proprioceptive systems. That includes your nervous system. So it is good to challenge yourself and to work on those things, because balance is something that we need from day 0 in our life till the end of our life. All right, so next up, I'm gonna do some ankle strengthening here. I have this band around my ankles, and I'm just gonna work on taking that band from the ball of my foot, and I'm gonna rotate out and resist the pulling back in. So I'm going out and slow on the way in. Same thing on the other side, which is my bad side. Trying not to let it fly back in. Next up, I can use this band and I can work on my plantar flexion. So I'm gonna take this band and I'm just working on pushing down with my toe and really not letting it pull me back in. Pushing down. You can do that on both sides. This can also be done with a towel. If you don't have bands at home. And you can also, if you have a friend, you can also have them holding the band this way, and you have to pull your foot back in for dorsiflexion. I am by myself, so I don't have anybody to do that for me. But it would look like this. Pulling that toe back towards your knee against the pull of the band, okay? Something else you can do with a band or a towel is you can use this band to help you stretch out your ankle. Again, if you don't want to put the weight on your body like I was doing earlier in this position, all right, you can always use something to pull those toes, that ball of your foot, back towards your shin. That's another option. right? And then the last thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna stretch out our calves and our ankles, our Achilles. So we're gonna do heel drops. So I'm gonna start in my downward dog position and I'm just gonna drop one heel at a time. The farther my feet are from my hands, the less resistance I have. Okay, if I start to move them closer, I've got a little bit more stretch in the back side of my legs here. You can also hold here in downward dog, pressing both heels down. And that is it. So again, today we talked a little bit about ankle strength, mobility, and stability. Gave you about 8 exercises to make sure that you're doing either at the gym before workouts or at home on your own time. All of them will in turn help you with all of that lower body strength. So squats, deadlifts, lateral lunges, all of those things are involved with our ankles and the mobility within that joint. So there you have it. We'll be back next week with more mobility, moving up the body. So we will see you then.